people have already lost their unemployment insurance benefits. This is not good for the country, because we're told by economists that for every dollar we spend on unemployment benefits, it gets $1.50 back to us, just like that. And so we have to start understanding that we have a country that not everyone's benefiting from what's going on with these headlines I just reported. Mr. President, during the last 30 years, the top 1%'s income and wealth has increased 300%. Middle class dropped 10%, about almost 10%. Think about that. 300%, middle class about 10% drop. I haven't even mentioned the poor. They have been hit harder than anyone else. When I say this, it's true. The rich are getting a lot richer and the poor are getting poorer. Middle class being squeezed. Mr. President, I have nothing against people of wealth. It's great we live in a country where people can make a lot of money. But we have to understand there are people really hurting. And for those who've lost their jobs through no fault of their own, millions of whom have struggled for months to find new work, a buoying stock market or increasing corporate profits are little comfort to them. Fortunately, Americans looking for work have been able to rely on unemployment insurance to get them through the tough times. For 1.3 million people, no deal. 20,000 of them are veterans returning from the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. At the end of last year, just a few days ago, Congress failed to extend emergency unemployment insurance for Americans.
What has been the toughest part about being unemployed?
I think the toughest part about being unemployed is probably the general feeling of worthlessness that you have when you're not doing anything to better yourself.
What have you done to try and find a new job?
I've sent out literally thousands of resumes. I've scoured websites and newspapers and help wanted ads all over.
How has being unemployed affected your relationship with your family and friends?
I think it probably has affected my relationships mostly because of my moods probably haven't been as good. And certainly we haven't been able to do a lot of the things that we used to do that got us together with people.
Why do you think you've had so many problems finding work?
I think it's a combination of things. I think one of the things is that I don't think there's as many jobs available, especially of the caliber that I'm used to having. But also I think the fact that I'm over 50 years of age has certainly affected it in a very difficult way.
Do you feel the economy in Virginia is getting worse?
I don't think it's a question necessarily that the economy is getting worse. I just don't think that there's been enough jobs created. I think when the recession hit, a lot of jobs were lost, but I think a lot of companies are learning to get by with fewer employees than they were before the recession happened.
How do you think we could improve the economy?
Obviously, creating jobs is a difficult thing to do, but I think one of the things that maybe could happen, at least on a federal level, and I guess it could happen on a state level too, would be to take some of the money that's put into benefits that are being dished out and put them into projects that would actually put people to work on infrastructure that we need in states all across the Union in order to make our country and our states better places to live.
Their emergency extension of unemployment benefits. Today, this afternoon at the White House, one of those individuals, Ms. Catherine Hackett from Moosip, Connecticut, shared her story with our country. She has two sons serving in the military. She was laid off through no fault of her own. She's been actively seeking employment, and yet she still needs help. And yet this House left before Christmas without taking up an unemployment extension, which in every past recession, any unemployment rate above 5% required and resulted in automatic extensions, yet this House went home. Kurt Edwards from Norwich, Connecticut, I spoke to yesterday, 20 years in the U.S. Army, Army Ranger, was laid off last April, looking for work. His unemployment was cut off on December 28th. The majority leader issued his agenda for the month of January. Not a word in that agenda about extending unemployment for 1.3 million Americans. Every economist tells us that's a mistake. These individuals need help. It is time for this House to focus on the immediate needs of the American people and extend unemployment insurance for 1.3 million Americans. I yield back the balance of my time.
For what purposes does the gentleman from Minnesota seek recognition?
Ask unanimous consent.